Welcome to the Primal Persistence Podcast, the podcast where I will give you health and fitness tips for your journey toward health and fitness through knowledge from me and guests that we both can learn from. So let's get started with the Primal Persistence Podcast. Enjoy.
Hey, and welcome to another episode. This one is recorded in my vacation. I had a lot of trouble with my recordings before I went on vacation, and nothing worked. And then my computer crashed, and I couldn't find the podcast. And of course, I will have a podcast ready for you, but I lost all my notes. So this is something that I've been working on for a while. In my mind, and this is going to be a vacation one, so it's all about fibers and why you should have fibers in your diet and how to get some more fibers in your diet. So it's not going to be a huge long solo podcast. It's just going to be a podcast with me talking to you about what kind of soluble fibers or insoluble fibers you should have in your diet. So we get a lot of these into your diet and just giving you some of the knowledge you need to get working with all of this in your diet. So let's get working and get into this full podcast about fibers in your diet. So one of the biggest changes in the Western diet, in our standard diet, is the huge decrease in dietary fiber as a percentage of carbohydrates. A lot of the fibers that we got 50, 60, 70 years ago were primarily from carbohydrates, but these carbohydrates in these days are super refined, so we don't get that much of this anymore. The shift from fiber-rich foods, as I just said, to refined carbohydrates, white flours, and all of this is not that a great thing. So this is why. And then one of the big problems that we have here is the huge increase in type 2 diabetes. Can be and obesity can reflect the refined carbohydrates that we are consuming with the all the bad fats I've been talking about as well. So this is the what we're going to be talking about and why we're getting into all of this. So what is fiber and why is it good? Fibers are fantastic. Fiber separates. It's normally a carbohydrate, but it's just starches and sugars. It's a digestive enzyme that works in your body and breaks down and just helps your entire body work a lot better. So fibers serve two main functions in the digestive tract. It aids the bulk of your stool. Um, it makes it easier to pass, and it feeds your probiotics that lives in there in your gut. Healthy gut bacteria have many other important beneficial effects in the body, such as your digestion. So this is just all fantastic good things. So you need a good amount of good fibers in your diet to get your your healthy gut working well. So um suppressing one of the very good things, I have suppression of hunger hormones in my notes here. One of the great things that we have and why we should eat fiber and why it's been used for healthy diets for a very long time is it helps to increase the suppression of the hunger hormone ghrelin, so you don't so you'll feel more full without eating all the crap. So it slows down the absorption abs- absorption of simple sugars in the bloodstream to regulate your blood sugar levels and avoid the excess production of insulin. So this will keep you satiated for longer, and keep this keeps your body more stable, and a more stable insulin. And this is why one classic thing that we've always been taught in the Western world is that oats is fantastic for breakfast. It's a fantastic thing if you can handle the grains all day long. It's a very good for fantastic probiotics for your diet. So if you can handle it, then for God's sake, use this. This is very good and fantastic for kids as well. It will keep them satiated for a while. So even though fiber doesn't provide us with energy, if we take the pure fiber part, it's like other carbohydrates, fats, and protein does, and it's not a essential vitamin like essential essential macronutrient like vitamins, minerals, and just basic things we need. It's but it's still pretty damn important. In fact, it I would argue that this should be classified as a essential. It shouldn't be non-essential, because that's maybe just wrong. One of the biggest things that we can do, and what's happened over the last 50 years, is that the decrease of these natural fibers, it's all people are eating too processed food, and we've lost so much of all our fiber in our diets. The total amount of carbohydrates we were eating in general for the last 100 years, 100 years ago, are nearly the same amount of carbohydrates we're eating today, but we're only getting 45 to 48% of the fibers from the same carbohydrates. This is huge, and it's just bad for our diets. And one of the reasons we're seeing so much type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, immune disease, and just a huge amount of lifestyle stresses and lifestyle diseases we're seeing because of the lack of fiber and healthy diets. So the take home message is that eating whole foods and avoiding uh, refined carbohydrates reduces the risk of type 2 diabetes. Like I said before, this is just hugely important. A lot of studies show that this helps a hell of a lot in your diet. So diets rich in fiber also reduce the risk of many cancers. So this is just one more reason why you should have this fantastic substance in your diet. It just helps so much, and if you can decrease the risk of cancers, then why not eat a hell of a lot more vegetables? High fiber intake can even reduce the the chance of some infections, and reduce chances of infections. So there aren't that many reasons why you shouldn't eat it. It's just so fantastic. So the take home message here is eat vegetables, a lot of them. We get the healthiest and best um, fibers from vegetables. So let's eat a lot of vegetables. Like I've said before, if you would like to look into more vegetables, then take a look at my podcast on vegetables. That is number 10, 11, I think. But don't hang me up on that. I will put that in the show notes. There are so many types of fibers, but let's take the two big ones and the two top ones, that is soluble fibers and insoluble fibers. Let's start with the soluble fibers. Fibers have a gel-like material in the gut, so they'll, like if you see these husk fibers, husk fibers, they will, if you dissolve them in in water, they'll have this gelatin kind of like thing, and it's just good fibers for your your by by your colon and your bacteria in your gut. Um, Although that not all soluble fibers are fermentable, they are still a fantastic way of producing and increasing your overall gut health. So let's jump into insoluble fibers. They tend to speed up the movement of the material through your digestive system. So they are fantastic to helping things through your digestion. So you can use this as well, but just helping moving things around and getting things working in your diet. So insoluble fibers are fermentable and also produce some gases that can be good or bad. So it's just very, very important to have this, even though I'm going to say, guys, you're going to get a little scared, but we need a mix of insoluble and soluble fibers in our diet. But we're going to take a more look into this in a short while. I'm not going to go super much in details in this because in my vacation, on my vacation, I didn't bring my textbook, some of my textbook that I normally would use for some of this. So this is going to be completely off my old notes and off my head. So let's see what we have here. The main thing here is there are many types of fibers that normally are lumped together in the category soluble and insoluble categories because that's just easier, and then we can switch that into fermentable and non-fermentable. But let's just stick to insoluble and soluble, and then fermentable and non-fermentable. This is the basic structure of it, and for a normal healthy diet, this is all you need to know. Then there are huge amounts of fiber classes. There are, I'm not going to go into all of these I've written down because it's just not that important. What's the most important to emphasize is the different fibers feed different bacteria. So you don't need to know exactly what kind of fiber you need. It's just that you get fiber from different things. One of the main thing that I would like to point out of fibers is the resistant starch. It isn't really a fiber, so it's just called this, but it just helps your diet and your health in so huge amount of things. And resistant starch is insoluble but yet it's highly fermentable, so it helps your gut a hell of a lot and gets everything working. And I've seen with a lot of my clients that have been doing paleo or very low carb for a long time, and in people that are doing keto, it's just something that they need a lot, and when they stall in their weight loss or their journey towards a more healthy lifestyle, the thing that helps a lot is adding in some resistant starch from green bananas, green plantains, potatoes, legumes, and are some good sources to get resistant starch, especially if you like spring, summer, new potatoes, and then cook them and cool them are a fantastic way. And then green bananas, a lot of us can get them all year round. So this is so important, and one of the important things that we need to keep in mind is when we eat fibers, we need to get them from a huge variety of vegetables. So we get them from so many different vegetables as possible, and get all these mixes of vegetables. This is a huge thing. This may be the single best things you can do to ensure your healthy diet and a healthy digestive system for gut bacteria, and just all the good beneficial things you can do for your digestive microbiome. Fiber and gut microbiome is just, it's very hot right now, but that's only gut health we're talking. I don't haven't heard that much about fiber, but stick with me, and if you would like to know more about fibers that I'm going to be talking about here, then shoot me an email. You will find my email address in the notes as well, so we can talk about and see if I can help you with your particular fiber intake, and we'll talk about what works in your diet. And you can join my closed Facebook group where we'll talk about this, and see if your question can help somebody else. But you're always welcome in this group. Everybody is. You will find the link below as well. Soluble versus insoluble fibers. What's better for you, soluble or insoluble fiber? Many people will tell you that the answer is soluble. In fact, most of the beneficial effects of fiber consumption are attributed to a loss of various and fermentable priorities, like we talked about fermentable and non-fermentable fibers. It's just they come from soluble fibers. So in contrast, the most studies that evaluate the benefits of soluble versus insoluble fibers show that insoluble fiber is better. But we need this fermentation as well. So I'm not totally agreeing with with this short note that I just read for you. It's just more that we need the all of them. Just stick to this big big differentiating part. Get as many vegetables and fibers as you can. So while the total fiber correlation and decreased risk of cardiovascular diseases, like we talked about before, is associated with a stronger for insoluble fibers. So to compare to insoluble fibers to compare to soluble fibers. Of course, this is typical done in medical research, and they are very controlled studies. But again, if we stick to a large and scaled thing, then we get different vegetables and fibers from starchy vegetables, and don't get scared of starches. Then we just get a very good amount of fibers in our diet. So again, let's sum this up. Stop thinking about soluble fibers as the good fiber. Both insoluble and soluble fibers are beneficial, and we need them both. They are super important. So this is just something that we need to have in mind, and just keep working on. I talked about resistant starch before, and I would like to get back to this because, like I said, it's been a huge game changer for a lot of the people that I've been working with. So, resistant starch is just a very in the media right now. It's a smart biohack to support your digestive health and your gut microbiome. And we see a lot of people here that eat, especially from the keto diet and the primal people are using it, and the paleo people, all these just it's out there everywhere, and we're talking about taking potato starch and uh, putting in cold water and just drinking this. Of course, this is a good starch. I've done it. I've tried it, but in the long term, it just doesn't work. Resistant starch is so much more, and we can get it in so many good forms. And getting in our diet, a a a fantastic easy way is just on your hard training days, eating cold cooked rice that you've cooled for a day or two, or potatoes for that matter, is just fantastic. Resistant starch is a type of highly fermentable, insoluble fibers. Unlike most starches, resistant starch is fully broken down in your small intestine. It is resistant to the action of your digestive enzymes because it is a has a structure that's just uh, is not been broken down, and it's a slow burning carbohydrate that helps you and it helps your diet uh, moving everything through, and it helps your bacteria in your colon, which is fermented to produce a beneficial short chain fatty acid, that is very very good for your diet and everything. There are different types of resistant starch. There are RS1, RS2, 3, and 4. I'm not going to go into this because I don't think it's that important, and I don't think you need it. But one of, like I said, cooled white rice and potatoes, white potatoes, especially if you like to have some more power in your potatoes, then try to get the new potatoes, or getting colored potatoes is one of the best way to get as much nutrients in your potatoes as possible. So stay away from the old white potatoes. New freshly dig up potatoes are the best thing. And if you're gonna eat potatoes that's been lying for a while, then eat the skin. It has a lot of good stuff is packed in the skin, like with a lot of other vegetables as well. So the best solution is eat resistant starch where it naturally occurs. The cooked potatoes, like we talked about before, are rich in RS2 and RS3. And if you cool them, you have a lot more RS2. But raw green bananas, plantain, yams, root vegetables provide not only resistant starch, but they are just a good source of vegetables as well, and help you have great fibers and macronutrients to benefit your overall health. Raw potato starch can be used, but in the long run, like I said before, it's likely to have some health precautions, and eating resistant starch this way is not fantastic. So get your resistant starch from whole foods. There are so many types of fibers, like I said before, but just get them from from vegetables in your diet. This is the most important. But try to test out the resistant starch part. This will help you a lot getting in some fibers in there. I would like to end this podcast with some tips and tricks to get more fibers in. I have 6 or 7 different ways to get some more fibers into your diet. So eat vegetables. Number one, eat vegetables with your meals, and get it in even with your breakfast. You don't need to cook it up all the time. A couple of raw carrots, or a cabbage salad, or a some kale with some apple on the side of your normal breakfast is fantastic. Number two, try to gradually increase your serving size of vegetables with each meal, so you don't just jump in behind. This will help your gut microbiome adjusting to the high fiber intake, which makes it easier to digest larger amounts of vegetables. This is what I see a lot. People just say, hey, I need more vegetables, and then just go all in from day one. This can be very hard on your stomach and your diet and your digestive system and everything. So step it up slowly with each meal. This will help you a lot more. Try to not think of vegetables as only cool salad style stuff. Cook them. Make salad with braised or sauteed vegetables like spinach. Super easy to saute up with some onions and some butter. Fantastic side dish for a lot of your thing. If you're to spinach, if you're not, then you can find something else. Number 4, add vegetables to your soups, your stews, your casseroles. This is not only a fantastic for fibers and vegetables, it's fantastic for your health and your wallet as well. So you don't eat that much of the protein as well, and you can cook up a lot larger. You have 2-3 days of meat or in one stew or casserole, because you've added a lot more uh, vegetables in. This can be pureed cauliflowers as thickener. It could be pumpkin. It could be right before you serve your favorite stew. Then add in a good amount of spinach as well. This is almost neutral in flavor, but it gives you this green power and just thicken this up a little. The Indian people have been using this for ages. Uh, Number 5, choose smoothies over vegetable juices. You get all the fibers instead of leaving them in the machine. So let's say six of these raw vegetables like celery, carrots, and radishes make a great portable snacks. We all like it. Well, I like it a lot, and my family likes a lot. These raw carrots, especially, it's just fantastic. They have this. It's just wet veggies on the road. It's just fantastic in the car. They don't have all the paper stuff from buying things, and they just have a good taste, and they're crispy and fantastic. Let's jump to the last one. Try to add veggies to every meal, even your dessert. Vegetables can be used in smoothies and then frozen down. You can use them as ice cubes. You can use carrots for a lot of different things as sweeteners in your desserts as well. Mixing up some for a quick and easy dessert. Mix up great some good quality local apples, a little bit of carrots, 2 or 3 carrots with this, and then some cinnamon on top. It's a fantastic and very satiating dessert to end up your diet. So this was my vacation podcast with about fibers. So I hope you like this. If you have any questions, then jump on the Facebook group. You have the link right below here, so I can help you with getting more vegetables and fibers in your diet and help all the others in the group. And I hope you like this. Share it, and hope to see you next week for the next podcast. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Primal Persistence podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share the knowledge in this so we can help as many people as possible getting the physical and energy based power to conquer every obstacle in their way.